What is up, YouTube? It's that whatchamacallit Barber here. Today, we're going to talk about the untold truth between the Andis single and double magnetic guards. Now, there's been a lot of fuss ever since these come out, these single magnetic guards, and they've been out for a few years now. But ever since the Andis has come out with these, a lot of barbers hate these single magnetic guards. They curse them to hell and everything. A lot of people love the double magnetic guards, and I do too. But today I'm going to tell you the untold truth about these single magnetic guards. And I'm here to tell you that they're not that bad if you give them a try. Because a lot of people, they'll try them once, try them twice maybe, but they don't really give them an honest try. They don't give them a fair shake. So today we're going to talk about this. And the reason for this video, honestly, is one, because I haven't seen one out there. Two, one of my barber brothers at school, he was asking me, because a lot of people at school know that I primarily use the single magnetic guards for all of my cuts. If I'm using guards, if I'm not using the supers and using my blades, but I use these guards. So I sat down with him, I broke it down to him with a few other people. And then once it was all said and done, I was thinking to myself, damn, why did I not record this? Or why did someone not have a camera and we could have posted this to YouTube? So here it is. Here's the video, raw and uncut. We're live streaming this one. So if you don't know, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. The link to my Instagram is below, that whatchamacallit Barber. But if you do, you'll notice that primarily I use these, the Envy cordless LIs by Andis. These are my primary cutters. I fade a lot with these. If I'm not using my supers and using the blades to fade, I'm using these. I do these primarily with ball fades a lot. I use these. These are my go-tos. So if you look at these clippers, you'll see they have the, it's also similar to the Andis Master. They both have two screws on the top, like most clippers or trimmers. But if you look at the spacing on these two screws here, on the Envies, they're a little bit further apart. I don't know if you can see that here. Now, the problem comes in when you're using the double magnetics, or if you try to use the double magnetics on these, and I'm going to show you here in a second. Now, if you notice with Andis, the Andis Masters, they're a staple in the barber community. These things have been around for, man, maybe almost a decade. If I may be off by a few years, but they've been out for quite some time. So these clippers, I'm pretty sure they're not going anywhere. These Andis Masters, they've been around for a long time, and I think they're going to be around an even longer time. So they just improve them, do a few little things here. Lately, you see, I got these special editions. They starting to make different colors and stuff like that. So, don't get too caught up in that. But you have seen these the last few years, these cordless NVLIs. Now, if you're in the UK or over in Europe, I think they call them the US Pros, if I'm not mistaken. But also, Andis just dropped the Andis Pro Alloys, which they actually have a similar blade. I'm trying to give you guys a shot of this blade. It's like, this blade here is like a taper blade, if you can see that. The Andis Masters, they also have a taper blade, but as you can see, this taper blade is a little bit different than the Andis Master. It has like a little more of a curve to it. If you look at the Master, the taper here, it tapers off completely, and there's more of a crisper angle on the blade from that line. And you can see the curvature here on the NVLIs. You can see that curvature here. Now, with this blade or this clipper, if you were to try and use the double magnetic guards, and you see how the two screws there and the two screws here for the double magnetics, once I put this on top, it's going to snap on. You can hear it snap on most clippers. You hear the magnets working. But the bad part is the magnets are right on top of the screws, which means, as you can see, it's sliding. So if I'm sitting here fading, you see how that just popped up? Sort of like how Wall with the guards that come with the clippers, their half, their 1 and 1.5. That half, sometimes it'll slip off. Now you see that it's it's on there securely, like meaning you can't just pull it off, but it'll slide off due to these magnets sitting on top of this screw. Now, this is why the double magnetics come into play, because like as I said, these NVLIs and the Pro alloys share the same type of blade. So as you can see, this magnet here sits in the middle. I'll put this on here, snaps into place. This magnet rests right in the middle there of these blades. Fit perfectly, securely. You can I have my NVs, if you can't see this, mine are zero gap, so they won't move. I turn them on. You don't hear them chewing through the blades. They do not chew through the blades. So you guys might be thinking maybe they chew through the blades and they won't grind anymore. I'm here to tell you, you can zero gap these things. They don't chew through the blade. Unlike the Andis Masters, if you zero gap them too much, they might eat through the blades. So you might have to back them off a little bit. But that's I wouldn't really say don't zero gap them or don't buy these guards because of that fact. You know, it's just a simple little fix. But as you can see, they fit securely, no problem. You can fade, move fast. They stay on secure. They don't move, very secure. Now, the thing is, with the Andis Master, a lot of people, they love the double magnetic guards because they fit perfectly on them. As you can see, you saw the power of that magnet right there. Very powerful magnets. Now, as you can see, two screws on the double magnetic. As you can see, if you saw that before I snapped it on, these double magnetics fit up nicely on the outside of these magnets on the top of the stationary blade. Right on the outside, they fit securely, snug. And I mean, look, if you've been watching YouTube videos or if you even have the double magnetics and some masters or some fast feet with some double magnetics, you know how this works. It's like Jordan and Pippen. It is what it is. So I'm not going to go too far into those. But with these, the single magnetics, the thing is, they do fit. And as you can see, same screws, same magnet. I'll put this on. This is a zero guard. You see how that magnet fits right and cozy right in between those two screws. Boom. Snaps right on. Fits securely. Doesn't pull off. Perfect. Easy fit. I don't have my masters plugged in, but they work perfectly. Now, this is where a lot of people don't like the single magnetics, and we're going to get into that very shortly. But for those of you, and I decided to bring my supers out, for those of you who do fade with blades, and primarily if you're fading with blades, you're going to be using the blades anyway. But some people with the blades, they actually use the guards. And I do this sometimes where, let's say some guy wants a 4 and I don't have a 4 blade. I have a 3.5. I didn't buy any blades bigger than the 3.5. But if someone wants like a 4 or a 5 on top or something like that, what I'll do is I'll grab either my 5 through triple out. I'll grab one of these blades, which this one is, there you go. You can see it a little bit. There we go. This is the triple out. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll put the guard on my blade and I'll use that because I don't have, like I say, a 4 blade or anything higher. I don't have anything higher than the 3 in blades. So I'll do this. And a lot of people use this. Perfect. As you just saw that. I don't know if you guys saw me just make that little transition. I'm going to use the double magnetics for this. Now, this is actually a triple out for Andis. I use Oster blades on my Supras. Another little thing for you guys, the Oster blades do work on the Supras and vice versa. So you can buy Andis blades and use them on some Model 10s or the Classic 76ers, the Octanes, what have you. They'll all work vice versa. So I use Oster guards for my Supras, although this is a triple out. This is the ceramic triple out that came with the Supras. But you see me trying to use this 4 guard, the 4 double magnetic guard on these Supras. Now, if you see here, you see the 2 screws, you see the 2 screws of the double magnetic. They sit right on top of the screws on this blade, which that's a problem. If you can see that, it's sliding all over the place. It's not secure. Now, this is where the single magnetics come into play, and they work perfectly with this. As you can see, 2 screws, guard, magnet in the middle. Whoops. There we go. Snaps into place. As you can see, easy. It fits on securely. It doesn't move. It's secure. It's not coming off. You know, the magnet is holding it strong onto the blade. Now, that's one reason why the single magnetics are dope, because you can't do that with the double magnetics. If you use that, some barbers use it. Most of them don't. And honestly, most barbers don't even know that you can put guards on your blades, but only 5 through triple out. If you start going into the OA, the 1A with 1.5, it won't fit because the blades are too big, basically, plain and simple. Now, one thing I don't like about the single magnetics over the doubles, and there are a lot of pros and cons when it comes to both of these. You can throw them all day and make your comparisons and then make your decision on what to buy. Actually, the real reason why I ended up with single magnetic guards is I actually bought these first. I bought these before I knew about the double magnetics. And I actually kind of bought them by accident. I just saw some magnetic guards and I was like, okay, let me buy these. So I bought them and I put them on. I was like, this is a little different. This is when I had my master's. I was like, this is a little different. You know, not what I remember seeing. I was like, oh, there's only one magnet. And I was like, oh, they're double magnet. That's what everyone's using, the double magnetics. So I went and bought the double magnetics. And now I have both. I didn't return them because I wanted to give them a try. And I really didn't give them a try until I got my NVLIs. I didn't, like with the masters, I was using the doubles because I heard so many people say that these were bad, the single magnetics were bad. And I kind of took everyone's word for it, not actually giving them a try for myself. So for me, it was trial and error on why I came to the conclusion that these aren't that bad. Now, if I were to just listen to everyone on YouTube and everyone in barbershop say that these are trash, I wouldn't use these to this day. I probably would have sold them or thrown them away, something crazy like that. And then I'd still be on the bandwagon with everyone else. But the cons of these single magnetics is they don't transition well from the 1 to the 2. Now, when I say that, meaning if I put these on my Envies and open it up to a 1.5 and you're fading, they don't transition well to the 2. Now, you can make it happen. If you know how to fade and you know how to barber, you can make that transition happen, but it doesn't transition as smoothly as this double magnetic 1 guard to the 2. They transition much better, in my opinion. That's what I figured out, in my opinion. Another con about the single magnetics is that the 0 guard, and actually I'm just going to compare the 2 single magnetic guards. This is a 0 and this is a 1 guard. See that? Boom. Now, if you look at both of these, see if you guys get a good clear picture of this. They don't, let me angle that right. There we go. So they don't look that much different. When you look at these and stack these up, as I say, this is a 1, this is the 0. There isn't much difference here. See if you guys, there we go, focus. You see, there isn't much difference. However, there is a difference. If you look closely at both of these, and I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, you can see the 0 guards a little bit smaller. It's just a tad bit. Now, that's huge to some degree. And I have to explain, and this is what I always have to explain to everyone who asks me about the single magnetics. I always say, sit down, let me tell you the story, because it's very tricky. Now, and actually, before I tell you, let's compare the single magnetic 0 guard to the double magnetic 0 guard. Look at the difference here. Look at this. Let me see if this thing will focus. There we go. You see the difference here in guards? Look at that. This thing is huge compared to the single magnetic zero guard. Boom. You know, the single magnetic zero has more teeth than the double magnetic, but that's, it's only a difference of like one or two teeth. The real difference is once you start getting into the two guard and above, but we'll get into that a little bit later in this video. But as you can see, big difference in the zero guard. As you can see that there's a big difference in the size of these zero guards. Now, I have noticed when I use this zero guard with my Andis master, with the zero closed, they cut a lot closer. They get, it's almost like the wall half guard. It's almost like that, this one. Now, with this zero guard for the single magnetic, it's almost like a one guard. I mean, it's almost like a double magnetic one guard or wall one guard, this zero, depending on how you use it. Now, I've gone through a lot with these. I've done a lot of tinkering. Because these are my primary fading clippers that I use to do fades with. So I have to be very precise. So what I did was I broke it down almost to a science. So what I did was I figured out what transitions from my MV open, all the way open, to my zero. So, and by the way, as you saw, these MVs are zero gap, and so are my masters. But the primary focus of this video is not for the masters. It's really for these single magnetic guards. So what I did was I figured out, because I zero gap these, which means the throw on these aren't if you can see that they aren't as long as it should be from the factory. Now, if I were to unzero gap these, it'd be a little bit longer and I'd have to readjust. But I figured out that my MV's open transitions to my zero guard about a quarter to a third of the way open. And this transitions from that to the zero guard. Now, as I said, this zero guard cuts way closer than this zero guard. I've seen that for myself fading, and you can even tell from what I've showed you here. Look, you can see the big difference in these guards. You see the focus. There's a big difference in that guard, huge. Now, where it starts to get worse, and what I don't like about the single magnetics, is when you get to the two guard. So as I said, the zero, these things are not created equal. The one guard, not really created equal. I'll show you here. Better to show you than tell you. So as you see, little bit, if it will focus. Camera doesn't want to focus. All right, but it doesn't really equate to the same thing. Now, this two guard, on the other hand, this is where the singles and doubles kind of lose transparency, because look at the teeth here on the double, and this is the single magnetic two guards. These are the twos. I don't know if you can pick that up in the video, but these are the two guards. As you can see, these two guard and the double magnetic has much more teeth here through this comb versus the single magnetic two guard. And in my opinion, that is huge. Now, I noticed this when I was fading my son's hair. My son has straight wavy hair. And when I say straight wavy, in certain parts of his hair straight and other parts of his hair is wavy and curly. But when I'm fading my son, because I've used both guards and I've used the blades to fade him, and through all that trial and error, I've come to the conclusion of these single and double magnetic guards, is that these double magnetics, there's a problem once you start getting to the two guard. If you start fading fine hair, straight hair, especially straight hair that lays flat to the scalp. If you have straight hair that comes out at 90 degrees, that projects out that way, you'll be okay with this two guard. But when you have that straight hair, or even black people's hair or coarse or over curly hair that lays flat to the skin, you're gonna have problems when it comes to this two guard. That's if You know, that's if you're using this 2 guard. Really, to be honest, when you're fading, you're not fading much past your 1 guard. Let's just be honest. Like if you know how to fade, you know what I'm talking about. You're not fading much past your 1.5. You know, you might use your 2 just to take off some bulk or something, but you could obviously do the same thing by flipping the clipper upside down with the 1.5 and going with the grain, or using some clipper over comb if it's that serious. But as you can see, a big difference. Now, when I was trying to fade my son, I was fading, trying to transition from the 1.5 to the 2, which it was actually impossible for me to fade from the 1.5, from this 1.5 to the 2 on the single magnetics. It wasn't picking up any hair with the 2 on his head. The 1.5, it got it creamy. It was buttery. The fade, the blend from 0 to the 1.5 was buttery creamy. But once I got to the 2 and tried to transition up, because he had some sort of like a comb over pompadour look, but when I got to this 2, it wasn't taking anything off. I literally had to put these guards down and go to the blades and finish up the job with that. So that's another con of the single magnetics over the doubles. And I know what you're thinking. You said they're not that bad. Yes, I know I said they're not that bad. These are all cons, but you can make this stuff work if you know how to fade. Now, if you have a lot of clientele where that's a problem, like what I just shared with you, you know, fine or straight hair or over curly hair that lays flat to the scalp, the 2, the 2 will be a problem. But let's remember, you're not really fading that much past the 1.5. In that case, I could have used scissor over comb. I could have used thinning shears. You know, you could use clipper over comb in that scenario. So there's many different things you could do. Just like the 0 guard not really working that well if you compare them to this 0 guard, but you can make it work because, as I just showed you, from mine open, it transitions perfectly to the 0, and I can have everything work. So basically, for my MBs open, transitions perfectly to the 0, a quarter to a third of the way open. And then once I reach to this point, because after a quarter or a third of the way open, I basically open it up, fade up a little bit more, and I take this one off, and then I bust this out, my 1 guard. I put my 1 guard on, and I open it up to 1.5. So that's how my not my blades, but these guards transition for me with the way that I have my MVs 0 gapped. And now sometimes I don't even have to use my 1 guard when I'm fading. I can use this 0 open. Once I get here and I'm fading with the 0 open, I can flip this up and come down and smooth, and it can act as a 1.5. So there are many different ways you can use these guards to your benefit. You just have to and that's the thing about these single magnetic guards, is you have to know how to use them. You really do. If you don't really give them a try, you're not going to see how good they can really perform. And as I said, they're not that bad. And I know you saw these gray guards sitting off here to the right, and you're like, man, what are these? He hasn't even talked about these, but they're just sitting here. Now, these gray guards are the guards that you're going to get if you order a pair of cordless NVLIs or the Pro Alloys. You're going to get these little gray guards if you order those 2 clippers. You're going to get them in guard 0 through 8. Now, if you look at, and these are the 0 guards, just as an example, if you look at this silver and this purple single magnetic guards, they look identical. I'm not even gonna lie. Outside of this little bottom piece here, these 2 guards look almost identical. And as I was saying earlier in the video, the reason for them making these single magnetic guards is for these clippers, the NVLIs and the Pro Alloys. I don't know if Andis is just going that direction, but I don't even know if they actually produce, or if these double magnetics are in production anymore. I'm not sure, because they're actually kind of rare to find in certain areas. I remember when I got mine, they were sort of easy to find, but in certain areas, the double magnetics are hard to find. So as you can see, these guards are primarily identical. I mean, the construction of them, they're about the same. They're sort of flimsy. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. They're flimsy, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They're a little flimsy. These are a little bit cheaper I'm squeezing these. You know, this won't really come across in the camera, but as I squeeze these, they almost have the same construction. You can tell that these magnetic guards are built a little bit sturdier than these, which, let's be honest, if you get guards that come with clippers, you don't expect them to be the greatest anyway. So let's just be honest. But to let you know, if you guys don't want to shell out the coin to get single magnetic guards to try them, you can try these guards because they come with the clippers. And then if you really like them, you can go out and buy the single magnetics because they're just a little bit better. They fit on the clippers a little bit better. And I'll just show you. Like you see, like it just kind of snaps on. It feels real cheap. I'm not even gonna lie. They feel cheap. They feel like guards that come with clippers. Let's just be honest. That's what they feel like. Now, one thing about another con, I know this sounds bad. Another con with these single magnetics, although I say they're not that bad, between the singles and the doubles is, I don't know if this comes across in the camera, but these double magnetics, you see it has a glossy tint to it. Now, the single magnetics has like a semi-gloss / matte look. I don't know if that comes across in camera. You see it has like a semi-gloss matte look, and this one has more of a glossy look to the double magnetics. Now, this is one thing I didn't like when I first tried the single magnetics. I was fading, of course, and especially around the ear and below the occipital bone is where I noticed this problem. And maybe it was because these were brand new and they weren't broken in, or something else, which I'll get into a little bit later. But what I didn't like is these guards are very jagged. And I don't know, because honestly, I've never used these gray guards. I don't know, because I have the singles. There's no need for me to use the gray ones. But I've noticed these guards are very jagged. The edges here, they're very rough. So when you're fading, like if you're a person who fades fast, or if you don't have a light hand and you're in here on somebody's head digging and digging and digging, that's gonna hurt. I'm not gonna lie. If someone has a tender head, especially if you're fading kids with these, there might be a problem. You're gonna have to really lighten up with these, because the edges are very jagged. I was like stabbing people in the head, and they were like, and I was like, oop, my bad. Oop, my bad. But I got over it, and I learned how to use them a little bit better, a little bit softer, because especially with this clipper, the NVLI, it's not a strong clipper. Let's just be honest. I love it, but it's not as, in my opinion, it's not as strong as the Wall Magic clip or the Sterlings. They're not as strong. But I also, me personally, I like clippers that aren't super powerful, sort of like the Supras. Why I bought the Supras is because they have the adjustable speeds on them, and I honestly don't use these clippers past the 3rd speed. So you see, I just turned these on, and it's on speed 3 right now. But they're very jagged when you use them. You have to break these things in somehow. It's either, I don't know what it is. It's just bro science. What I'm saying right now, it's either you have to break them in, or what I did was I brushed these off, and I didn't want to spray them. So I was like, let me just dump them in the Marvicide. And I left them in the Marvicide a little bit too long. And some of the coating I noticed came off of these guards, and it's not going to come across in the video. I know it's not. It won't come across in the video. But some of the coating kind of dulled it out a little bit. And I don't know if that's why they were a little less jagged or not. Like I say, it's just bro science. It could be either that or me just getting used to them. So it's sort of like, you having some trimmers that are zero gapped and sharpened and modified that hit like Tyson, but you have a heavy hand. It's one of those things that the two aren't mutually exclusive. It just won't work out. If you have a heavy hand and you have some trimmers that hit out of this world, you're going to have a light hand or back your trimmers off. So same thing with this. You can either lighten up or not use them, I guess. But another con to why I don't like the single magnetics, but like I say, they're not that bad. And as you can see, Andis, when they made these, like I say, my theory to that is they made these basically promoting these clippers and the pro alloys, knowing that these types of clippers are going to be the clippers of the future, because as you can see, these are somewhat hot in the industry. Magic clips, most people like the magic clips, and I'm not going to blame them, but these aren't bad either, the Envies, and I could do that a separate video about that. Also the pro alloys. You see, they just dropped those clippers, and as I said, these two guards are going to work for those. Now, if you try and put these, and this is the one double magnetic on here, as you can see, the magnet is slightly on top of the Envy's magnets, and if you can see, it slid up. So if you're fading, boom, you see it slides up. You got to keep pushing it down. Boom, keep sliding it down. It won't come off. It's secure because of the magnets, but it won't stay in place for you to fade. And that's annoying. I mean, I remember those days of fading and with the walls. This was back when I had some old cheap walls. The guard wouldn't stay on, so I would literally fade like this with my finger on top of the guard. And like, who really wants to fade like that? I mean, do you? You know what I'm saying? So another reason why they made these, and I know a lot of people are crying a river about these, but I'm going to say stop crying the river. I don't think these guards are going anywhere anytime soon. And I think this is the wave of the future. If you have some singles, I don't know what they're doing with the production of the doubles. I don't know if they're just taking them out of production or what the deal is, but if you have some, keep them. If you can find them, buy them. That's if they're not in production anymore, because they're, from what I know from people other barbers that I go to school with, they can't find, it's hard for them to find the double magnetics, which is weird because I don't know if I just have a good plug on clipper stuff or what. But that's the video. If you guys have any questions, I hope that I answered most of the questions about these guards in this video. Please leave them in the comments below. I will answer any questions. I read all the comments. It is what it is. Follow me on Instagram, @whatchamacallit_barber. I still have other videos to do. I remember I posted one video that I need to do. I posted it like a few months ago, a little bit late, but that's the video. If you have any comments, like I say, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to get out of here. It's @whatchamacallit barber signing out. I will holla.